lot of people were thinking Bengi was just better than Blank. Here, I feel like he brings a fresh perspective and also a fresher player.
Yeah, I think that's the main key here, because I've actually been very critical of Blank for quite a while. And, you know, one of the stats that's very telling for me is that he has, as a jungler at Worlds, the second most lane minions killed pre-15. That means he's playing defensively a lot. You know, after his lanes get ganked, go to the lane to pick up those minions. You know, this guy is a very farm-oriented jungle rather than, you know, gank-oriented or even, you know, trying to get down the vision.
All right, let's see how Blank then performs once he gets into game. But the Zyra is banned away. The Jace, once again, on blue side for SKT. But J not going to have that influential pick that helped them win game number 3.
Yeah, they also feel like they're denying Faker a little bit, just making sure he can't first pick the Ryze and have a strong performance on it. The Olaf ban is interesting. They're trying to force the Nidalee ban here, as far as I can tell.
And it does happen. So what is
Olaf?
first pick worthy here?
Olaf is definitely highly banned. Oh, never mind. Already banned.
Yeah, so it's the Ashe. Basically, it's been a blue side ban by Samsung in multiple games. This is the first game it hasn't been banned, so the pick potential of the Ashe, as well as how good Bang has been at laning it, make it an incredibly high priority.
Also, you know, back when I was doing my homework watching the previous summer games in the SKT versus Samsung matchup, the last series that they played, Bang's Ashe was a huge part of actually killing Crown, because Faker and Crown went fairly close to even, but constant arrows from Bang's Ashe, you know, caused them to get picks and also enabled them to run in a very effective 1-4 composition and use the 4 members to pick off enemy Samsung enemies.
Yeah, now we're in this difficult situation again, though, where it's the Lee Sin pick for Ambition, and he's in the spot where he's going to have to be a huge playmaker. This time as well, they need to make sure they can get enough late game damage, because a lot of the tanks would still be available for SKT.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a mid lane Karma, but then you would run into that damage problem that you're talking about. And with Zyra, one of the high damage supports also off the table, you'd be hard pressed to fill in that extra damage across the board.
Hypothetically, if this Gnar gets locked in, does Cuvée then lean back on that cannon once again? Even though it did not go very well for him in game 2. I mean, the laning phase started well, but it didn't go anywhere from there.
I think so. I think Samsung needs to have faith in their power picks. I think Kennen is a good power pick for them against Gnar, and it also allows them to save their last pick for Faker if they lock it in now.
And I think Kennen very good against Ashe specifically as well. Low mobility for Bang, for the backline, so could present a good target for that. Meanwhile, Jhin, which they prioritized denying Ruler, has been picked up for him. And we talked about comfort champions at Worlds. For Ruler, that has been Jhin. And Crown, all time, has been Victor. Now he's going back to it after their Aurelion Soul game.
Yeah, and this is similar to when Faker locked in the Orianna blind before he necessarily had to. This is kind of Samsung making sure that Faker can't play the Victor, because Faker has played the Victor against Crown before and been extremely successful, so I kind of like it, actually, defaulting back to so much comfort here.
I think it also demonstrates the renewed confidence of this team after that victory. They defeated SKT in at least a game. They know it is at least possible for them to destroy an SKT Nexus.
We'll see whether or not Samsung Galaxy can sustain their early and mid-game weaknesses. They've got a team composition that can most certainly do that. Definitely powers up in that mid-game very well. SKT need to lock in a chunk. It's Zac!
Baby.
It's Zac!
Watch yourself, Crown, because
it's the Zac-Ori combo, too.
Yeah, mid lane is definitely a target for that. Meanwhile, Cuvée also very quick to lock in that Kennen we were talking about. We'll see if he can have the same success early versus Duke.
How surprising is Zac? Because I'm pretty shocked. I thought it was a Meteor special.
I mean, a lot.
It's definitely something that both of these junglers have had to be working on, is an expansion of their champion pool, because so many jungle bans have been targeted at one another, and in this situation, it is something that makes it very difficult for Victor to push, and it's something Blank has played in the past.
And it's something that doubles down on the initiation. SKT have many forms of very long-range initiation with this composition. They can definitely create picks on Samsung members, like I talked about, if they do spread out again.
Addition, in terms of initiation, the Ashe, the Zac, the Gnar, any one of those lands, and the Shockwave can finish it all. Faker, he found some good Shockwaves towards the end of that game 3, but the mid-game was definitely lacking.
Yeah, there was a big target on Faker's back, as he was the main initiator in SKT, it was also critical that Samsung would consistently try to initiate on Faker, and that's how they won a lot of those fights.
Yeah, definitely did indeed. We're loading up into game 4. Team compositions are on your screen. Don't forget to send in those show-stopping moments by tweeting at LOL Esports with the hashtag World's Big Plays. This could be the last game of the 2016 World Championship, and it's SK Telecom running Zach in the jungle against Samsung Galaxy.
You know, there was a time where we would be losing our minds about the Zach pick, but it's going to be surprising a little bit just because you would have more expected to see something normal like Elise in this situation. But I do agree with Kobe here. It's a long-range initiation, and it's trying to fill a hole that SKT had in the last game. And even in game 1 where they had struggle closing, they get the big lead, they can play the waves, but really just trying to corral Samsung in the fights is something they have struggled with. And Zach and Orianna do fill that gap.
And of course, if Blank has been practicing this pocket pick, maybe scrimming with it with SKT when Bengi was not, whatever, it's a different flavor.
Well, he did play it versus RNG once. Only showed it there.
Didn't die.
No.
Deathless on Zach at Worlds.
We have to see how he does today. More pressure on the line. A lot more at stake. Quick numbers for you really quick. Samsung over the last 3 games. Approaching 10 minutes, they were down 23 gold. Approaching 15 minutes, they were down 2,200 gold. And 20 minutes, down 3,900 gold. Now, they do have one win under their belt with those sorts of numbers. They need to stop doing that if they want to reverse sweep. And that's why, even though, yes, they've got a win, it's still such a ridiculous uphill struggle for Samsung.
I agree with you. And the numbers that you just talked about are nothing like the numbers they displayed throughout the rest of the World Championship, where between the 15 and 20-minute phase was their best phase. That's where they decimated teams. Kind of goes to show how strong SKT is at just playing the map, especially whenever Faker has that mid-lane pressure. I know he's dying a lot, but I cannot underscore how impressive it is when he shoves up, the rest of the team gets wards around him, and they win the map off of that.
Also, you know, one of my favorite news statistics that we've been tracking is basically time pre-15 minutes where any member of the team has spent across the halfway mark, across half court. And all of the lanes of SKT are top 4 for time spent playing aggressively, playing in enemy territory.
And even before that, Faker spends 29% of his time forward, Crown 19%. So Faker, even before this matchup, is trending in that direction, but very aggressive trades here, trying to make sure Crown stays pushed in.
Yeah, using that Orianna passive to shove down Crown. Now, we've seen the 2 mid and top lane matchups before. Once we get a moment or two, I want to see what you think of this Ashe Nami into the Jhin Karma as well.
Well, still on this mid lane, Faker, he's trading very aggressively because he went and put that ward on the Raptor camp, did see Ambition. That's why you can see him positioning here on the bottom side just barely. He should be timing it as they saw Ambition leave the Raptor camp. Meanwhile, Crown was taking those trades without any advanced knowledge of where Blank was. Now they've gotten into the jungle, they've seen him place that ward, and they can act accordingly.
We also have to remember, Crown did get that kill onto Faker in game 1 solo on the Victor, so he's confident in the Victor versus Orianna matchup as well. Top lane matchup should favor Cuvée early, and the dual lane matchup we would think would favor the Ashe Nami.
We'll have to find out. Bang's still 21 CS to 15, an early blue buff donation to Faker. It looks like it will be mirrored, as both Ambition and Blank are on manaless junglers. Slightly slowing here from the Crown Ambition. And fans getting behind Samsung Galaxy.
Definitely worth voting for. I want to talk about how few options Blank actually has, though. Faker, as his recall is interrupted, he gets a summoner spell out of Crown.
Well, that'll help Crown out, and he's actually got some support coming here from Ambition. Look for the Sonic Wave. Ward hop forward.
We hit it!
X follows it through. 100 HP, red buff is ticking. Not going to be enough to burn him down.
I love the flash there by Ambition, because even though he knew it wouldn't kill, he knew it would get the second summoner spell from Faker.
All right, hop over. Nas about to pop. Flash from Cuvée. So mid lane Faker's down. Top lane Cuvé's down.
All right, we'll see how the junglers return to those lanes, because both of them have been playing aggressively. You know, both of those two were pushed up and will be prime targets. That also calls for, you know, both Ambition and Blink to bring out wards for their laners. There's the pink ward in Cuvei's inventory after he's blown that flash.
Yeah. Look at this quest there, CoreJJ to get the very deep pink ward early, and it doesn't look like they spotted him heading in there, so unless Blank is disciplined enough to check that brush, it's going to be there for a while.
Great reaction to seeing the top lane gank. CoreJJ knows he can't be punished as they have vision of everyone who would collapse and do so.
Even going to delay the backs there from Bang & Wolf, so keep them in lane a little longer. Ruler is down 15 CS, but he's got a good wave and a half in front of him. Unfortunately, no support from CoreJJ, as he is losing quite a lot of those. And it's going to be falling slightly further behind, as he's now going to farm up under tower. So, early advantage is here to Samsung Galaxy just in the mid lane. Some vision inside that bottom quadrant of SK Telecom. And Cuvei actually not with a very big CS lead at the moment. Picked up those double Doran's blades, and is now going to try to bully Duke even more, but not the same sort of lead he built up earlier in the day.
Yeah, but with the double Dorans, I think he's still going to have a shove advantage. It's just the gank is going to prevent him from being a little bit more aggressive. Also, notice how Blank didn't catch the ward in the jungle, so this is giving Samsung a ton of knowledge of how to play the lanes, at least at this phase. So the early ward already paying some dividends.
Yeah, exactly. You know, a Zac gank onto a Kennen, all it's really going to do is kind of even up the lane play and force Cuvei to play a little bit more, you know, safe. Because, yes, a Zac burning that flash is decently big, but because of the lightning rush, a Kennen never really has to be super scared of Zac gank. He can easily dodge the slingshot as soon as he sees it. Only thing he has to do is place his pink ward in the tribe brush so that he will see any sort of, you know, backdoor gank from Blank.
We'll see if there's enough discipline from Cuvei in terms of vision. Crown used that Chaos Storm to push Faker a little bit away. Both of these mid laners actually not opposed to throwing down those ultimates just for some pressure in the lane. It's a fairly short cooldown, especially when Crown's first item is those Lucidity boots. So definitely going to help him out in terms of all the utility that will offer.
Yeah, the mid laners definitely have been playing around pressure more than kills, and that's where the junglers can then play through the rest of the map because of what the mid lane can do.
Yeah, we talk about pressure a lot in League of Legends, and it's actually quite hard to keep track of all of the mini objectives, basically, that especially the Korean teams prize very highly. Those involve, you know, opportunity. Oh, never mind.
All right, flash away from Crown, and Ghost tries to turn around to Faker. There's no flash available yet, but Ambition is too far away. He'll be unable to close the gap.
Double Summoner Burn there for Blank's time. Elastic Slingshot towards the mid lane. Very common gank. Ambition does get a smite once again.
Interesting, he actually smited after Blank, so Blank got the Raptor buff, so immediately Ambition had the ward pop for Blank there, and he loses the buff
So he
right
knew
away.
that there was no...
Gets it. Easy.
Ambition's got access to that Dragon's Rage kick. No flash available to him yet. Ruler and CoreJJ, they've been able to stem the bleeding. Down 10 CS, they were down about 20 a little while ago. And that pink ward that CoreJJ placed earlier, spotting out Blank, spotting that red buff, that's been there for 3 minutes already. It was placed around 5. It'll be interesting to track just how much information this gives Samsung Galaxy. It's allowing them to play, you know, a little more aggressive when they know where Blank is and how far along his ganking path is. Crown would have known that was coming.
Both sides pink warded here for Samsung Galaxy. You can tell they're very well aware that Zac has a penchant for ganking mid lane, and Ambition, once again, even showing up in the lane, placing the forward ward.
The pink wards are great to prevent the ganks, but it also is kind of evidence of the matchup. The Lee Sin is a better duelist early and a better clearer early than the Zac as far as dueling is concerned. So he's able to get the ward control to prevent the Zac from making those plays.
Even threatening the jungle, stealing away the Gromp as well.
Yeah, really just trying to deny Blank farm. If you get a Zac behind in a game, he becomes very useless.
But this feels like more discipline from Samsung. I'll finish the points in a moment. Duke and Cuvei trading. Slicing Maelstrom comes down the hop. Not going to get the secondary proc, and Duke is going to get away. The last time Ambition tried to invade was in game 2, like that style, on the Kindred. He had no support from his team. He got killed and ganked. This time round, Cuvei was there. Crown was already pushing through the river. It feels like Samsung a little bit more conscientious of their movements around the map, and that is a good sign if they want to continue playing into this mid game.
Yeah, they also have the early game matchup advantage in the jungle and the top lane. So it's a really close game in that sense right now because SKT's bottom lane is pushing, Samsung's top lane is pushing, and the mid lane is split.
And the important thing is to play off of your area of the map that has a strength. They want to transition it down to the bottom lane with the teleport that they have on Kennen.
Oh, JJ is caught. Double bubble means trouble. Core JJ flashes away. Summoners blown, 3 of them, and ultimates.
That is going to reduce options for trying to transfer your power down to the bottom lane because, look, there are no wards for Kennen to teleport on behind the bottom lane. Plus, he has to wait for his ultimate to come back up before that opportunity, and we'll be there for him.
While all that's going on, Faker's pushing into the mid lane. It's a lot of damage onto Crown, as well as the tower.
Yeah, the timing's worked out so well here for SKT because he has the blue buff, whereas Crown would want to go and get the blue buff, but that's allowing Faker to just be relentless on the turret, not to mention the harass down the bottom side to maybe go for this Infernal Drake.
Looks like Samsung has something to say about it, though, as they're heading down that way. They
Gotta
did
be a blind
see
face
2-man
there.
exit.
Now he sees it.
Gotta be very careful. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is not available, nor is the Curtain Call. Infernal is peeled away from, and Samsung threatening enough to push them out.
That pressure on the Drake caused Crown to miss almost the whole wave there as Faker was pushing it into turret, and that evened up the CS for mid lane. And Faker, once again, getting more damage on that mid lane turret.
More control. And this is a good sign for SKT. This is a team composition that wants to scale, that wants multiple actions. They're going even against Samsung's team comp that should have advantages in 2, maybe 3 roles of the 5.
Well, Samsung really wants to hit these power points where it's the Ghost Blade on Jhin and the Proto Belt on Kennen. Those are really big points for them to make those plays if they combine the teleport of Kennen down bottom lane with their Jhin ultimate.
Bouncing grenade flies across. Bang takes a little bit of damage. Still somewhat in control of this lane, but being pushed backwards by Ruler and Core JJ.
Yeah, nice for them to get a little bit of breathing room. They still don't have ward control in the river, so they have to be a little bit scared. But every time they would see the Zac, they can be a little bit more aggressive. Also, there's little micro power spikes we have to worry about here as the items go back and forth.
All right, trading ultimate for ultimate, I'm sure. Shockwave catches Crown. Chaos Storm. Here comes the junglers. Plank and Ambition. Show face, give a little love tap. It's like mirrored 100%.
100% mirrored. It's insane, actually, how both junglers enter the frame at exactly the same time.
Well, I was also talking about, the limited option for those two. They know that, that is one of the few places for the Zac to go. It's hard for Zac to land a slingshot onto Kennen, especially since Cuvée has had double wards on top side the entire time. What we haven't seen very much, especially from these guys, are the ganks where you run into the side brush of that lane. Up top, it's very hard for top laners to keep wards in those side brush of their lane, so those can be very effective. Kennen's flash is obviously back up now, so that's much less deadly. And bottom lane, they obviously have the supports that are trying to clear those out and retain control of those brushes.
Yeah, not to mention the little small item spikes like the Mercury Treads on Duke, or the pink ward that's still sitting in SKT's jungle. Let that be a lesson. Always check that brush when you're jungling, because if someone sneaks a ward in there, it ruins your gank potential.
8 minutes up. Blank just walked past. I don't think he spotted it either. Still alive. Infernal Dragon's now been started by Samsung.
This is because of the recall of Faker. Those mini objectives, back timing are a premier mini objective that allow you to work your way up to the dragon. Faker back at base. That means Crown can come help, and the dragon secured there for Samsung.
That red buff ward is still spotting Blank. It's going on 9 minutes of lifetime. Multiple pings from Samsung Galaxy. They get their hands on the Infernal Drake. There was a questionable tidal wave from Wolf. Samsung are going even at 15 minutes, but they're hitting those power spikes. Almost Ghost Blade, Proto Belt's up. So this is where they've got to pull the trigger and accelerate ahead, right? Use that mid-game spike, that sort of 1-2 item spike on some champions.
Well, the Proto Belt, the 2 upgrades on the Hex Core, and when Ruler can get his Ghost Blade, that would be when Samsung would want to make a play. They already have some of those people with full items, though. Ambition invading the side of Blank. If they can get harassed, you want them to try and dive Duke, but very subdued play here. No one wants to make the first mistake.
Also, they don't have, much tankiness up on the top side of the map or a way to avoid tower aggro. So if you go for Duke, you have to be sure that he is just exhausted on the Gnar and won't turn Mega. As of right now, it's definitely dangerous. And Faker chases him out of their jungle.
Yeah, this time Ambition did not have the support on his team. He uses a scuttle grab to taxi out.
He's Lee Sin, though, instead of Kindred, so he is much more mobile and able to get these escapes off. This is a much closer early game than Samsung has been able to play in the past, which speaks well to the momentum they may have gained from that last win. Not to mention, I do actually think it's a bit of lack of discipline from Blank to never check that brush where the pink ward is.
The side lane brush gank here from Ambition, just positioning both for a counter gank, plus any aggression from Duke. Actually cancels his recall there because thought there was a chance Duke would go in, but definitely not because he's mini and just went exhausted.
Yeah, not going to look for the engage just yet. 15 minutes has crested by. Samsung Galaxy had a 100 goal lead. That's the first time they've had a lead at that phase, but they're losing some pressure on the map. Bang and Wolf have really sort of had the time of the lane against Ruler Core JJ. Faker is pushing Crown in again and again and again, and it's Crown's tower that is looking like it'll be tower first blood. Unless the junglers have anything to say about it.
Which, here they come.
All right, Ambition, let's look for the shockwave. Again, mid laners on mid laners, junglers on junglers, but this isn't fair. Here comes the support. Crown flashes away. Ambition's running low. He uses the kick to send Blank flying. Ash Arrow comes out. Blank takes a couple extra shots, but nobody dies. Up in the top lane, Duke and Cuvee, they're going toe-to-toe. Slicing Maelstrom burns through. Flash for flash. Cuvee, first blood. Solo kills Duke.
Cuvee came into this series with the most solo kills of anyone. 15, and now he racks on another.
And in the clutch moment, after an incredibly close fight in mid lane, knows no one else can come there, he makes it happen.
The curtain call!
Faker,
Bang!
Look for him!
Bang! Bang! Blank flashes for his life. Samsung get another.
Ruler, more like it, as they land, and Wolf didn't take the hit. Oh my goodness. Samsung, though,
takes the hit.
Another kill, this time mid lane, and they haven't had pressure mid lane in forever.
Blake might have been low. He's got cell division. He can take a hit. He's got a passive that brings him back to life. That was...
Nobody wants to take a hit.
Poor coordination. You have to play behind Faker. Watching this one more time, the instant Duke loses the Mega Gnar, Cuvee decides to go aggressive. He clears all the minions as well with the ultimate. And here, he knows he's got 2 stacks on him to get the final stun.
Exactly. The 2 lightnings there, and Cuvee goes in to find that. They also take this as a... Look at the play between Faker and Crown here as Faker moves over to get actually snared right through. Yeah, Wolf is going for the heal damage onto Crown. Unlucky.
Unlucky indeed. Samsung Galaxy, 2 kills, an Infernal Drake, and a 1,000 gold lead in 17 minutes. It took the items. They got their Proto Belt, they got their Ghost Blade, and almost instantly, they make a play. This is what you would have expected with the team composition, right? They need to keep doing that and keep pushing ahead, because if they maintain a small advantage, the scaling and the team fight power that SKT brings to the mid and late game is going to add up and be terrifying.
Well, look at this. They got scouted out as they dodged the Ash Arrow, but Ambition got scouted out by the Wolf Sprite right there, but that is going to push Duke off and probably give them first turret as well.
First turret gold is so important. First blood gold for Samsung. They can definitely snowball this one. Completely different story. Their 2 carries are on. They're comfortable champions here, and Cuvee has in a comfortable top lane spot of solo killing people.
The first 3 games of the series, Samsung were down on average 4,000 gold at 20 minutes. They currently have a 2,500 gold lead at 18.5. And full record, that red buff ward is still alive. That's going on 13 minutes. We're going to track that.
At a certain point, Core JJ needs to move it because they need to get another pink port on the map, but that's insane.
All right, let's see. More pressure in the mid lane. Shockwave traded for Chaos Storm. I've seen that movie before. Here comes the junglers. Blank has jumped onto Crown. Unstable matter and let bounce. This should be the kill. Crown gets safeguarded. He sidesteps. He dodges. The ebb and flow takes him down. Cuvee's in trouble, taking so much damage. Will stun Blank up to buy some time. Blank may be able to charge the elastic slingshot. He swings and misses. Will get rooted in place by Core JJ. Buy some time. Cuvee still running for his life. Still not down. He's going to lightning rush away. Proto Belts to safety. And Cuvee lives.
But Crown did not. Wolf again went for the heal damage on Crown. This time takes it off his head, and Duke cleans up the objective afterwards for SKT as well.
Wolf had the right idea first time. This time it actually works out. And it also leads to the mid lane turret falling, which can allow some more roaming. Watching this one more time, they trade ultimates as is customary, but the difference is Wolf is here. CoreJJ's in base on Karma, so this turns the fight in Samsung's favor. Crown can't really get away from Blank right here. I feel like if he would have run straight backwards, he had a bit more of a chance.
Exactly. We can't focus on the aftermath, of these skirmishes. Focus on how SKT set that up. They force the bottom lane to recall for Samsung and immediately go to roam to make a play on mid lane instead of recalling themselves.
Then the narrow escape right at the end is Blank's never able to get the elastic slingshot to land. Nice juking by Cube.
Support from Ambition means Samsung Galaxy take their second tower of the game. 20 minutes in, they're still up 2K. Mountain Drake will be up in the not too distant future, and Samsung Galaxy in a very good position going into the mid game. Cannot afford execution mistakes because they don't have a very sturdy front line, especially with Warrior in charge on that Lee Sin.
Exactly. Once again, they're going to rely on the crowd control and zone control that comes from a Kennen. So Cube, the importance of his teleport and his flash summoner spells are huge for this team. Also, that means that SKT have to focus so heavily on clearing out any Samsung wards that do get across the map for them.
Didn't catch exactly when that red buff ward went down, but it is now cleared from the bottom quadrant of SKT's jungle. And SK Telecom starting to build up. It's a Frozen Mallet first for Duke's Nas, a little bit focused again on that split push, as has really been his sort of flavor of the series.
Definitely wants to get that advantage. And remember what we were talking about as well in Champion Select with this SKT composition, how many AoE abilities they bring to this team fight. If they can start it off with an Ash Arrow, it's very easy for them to combo, shockwaves into Gnar ultimate. So both have to be very wary.
The tools for initiation are there. The tools to outplay kind of there for Samsung. As far as zone control that we were talking about earlier, Crown also, to me, on his Victor, has better use of his gravity field than any other Victor I've seen as far as preventing the other team from getting initiations. And as long as he's not getting hit by the Ash Arrows, his gravity field can stop the follow-up initiations a lot of the time.
And one of their biggest tools as well for dodging those initiation tools that SKT are bringing is the speed that CoreJJ on the Karmas bring. We already saw it in lane a little bit with Ruler, dodging that Ash Arrow as CoreJJ applied the speed to him. But that will also be crucial as far as those mid-game picks that we are anticipating in these Vision Wars.
Pressure now in the mid lane as Samsung Galaxy grouped up. Got themselves that dragon. They maintain a really passive control of the map. Only outer tower remaining is now behind Faker. They're going to commit some resources to taking that down because they don't have a tower to fall back to. That safety net rather is just not there.
The other thing about setting that up with the Ashe is Bang is one of those players who's played Ashe for a very long time, and he's the guy that will sneak into the pocket of Fog of War to fire it from so that you have less time to dodge. So the wards not only will serve as teleport locations, but also early alert, to try and see the Ashe arrows come and try and dodge those out.
Yeah, so much of that is prepped by the vision control very early on. The pink ward control in the mid lane for SKT is pretty good, and I think some of that spews from the mid lane turret being down already.
I think it's fair to say that SKT's vision this game has been 1 or 2 steps ahead of Samsung's over the course of the 4 games. It feels like they've pushed vision in very deep. They've cleared vision out where needed in the areas they're prioritizing.
And a lot of times, Samsung will actually be ahead in the warding stats. They placed more wards in this series by SKT by a long shot. But that's because SKT switches over to sweepers so much earlier. You can see even in this game already 2 sweepers, and that's actually how they caught the pink ward, was Wolf running through their own jungle with the sweeper to get rid of it. And there's another example of it right there.
Exactly. Switch over the sweepers very early. Also, when you're in control of the map, as SKT have been in control for a very large portion of those early games in the series, don't have to replace your pink wards as often as they're not getting killed out by the enemy, leading to lower numbers but higher control. A little bit deceptive.
Okay, so Samsung's in control. They've got a minor lead. They've got a good mid-game team composition. And good flash. Respect flash from Ruler. Now Samsung is in the position that SKT have been in 2 games. Going into the mid game with somewhat of a lead. It's not as big, but how does SKT play from behind? Let's see. As Blank is being jumped on. Very good curtain call. This is going to be a target of Blank. Teleports matched 1-for-1 in the river in mid lane. Oh! Maelstrom. Bang just gets blown up. Blank gets turned on. He gets kicked back into the mid lane. Cube is going to get dropped, so that makes it a 1-for-1. It looks like Blank's able to get away for now.
Yeah, he had a very quick flash there right off of the screen, so he was able to get out.
Yeah, really hectic engage right there as they trade 1-for-1, and even though Faker landed a decent shockwave, it wasn't nearly enough to save Bang, who had taken a lot of harass from Ruler's initiation. This is kind of the classic matchup we've seen this year between the Ashe and the Jhin, where yes, Ashe can fire with the arrow, but the curtain call can be just as threatening on the enemy AD carry.
All right, going to use that Ghost Blade. 1-2 more shots, even though caught by a prison. Crown is going to use that.
Did they overstay?
That's going to catch Faker. That's very important to prevent further engage. And look at that. Captive audience slows Duke down and prevents any further chase. Samsung get the tower.
Huge for Samsung. They get all of the outer turrets, and that is so much in the next step of the vision game. Here we go, though, with the ultimates that you're talking about from Jhin on to Bang. And he doesn't respect that teleport in. You know, Cube is definitely going to immediately use his ultimate. Yes, he gets stunned under tower range by Duke, which is great to get the counter kill for them, but not going to be able to get any more out of it. And by the way, with that flash as well, Blank did save his passive for cell division on Zac, so there's the 2-step initiation of the Ashe Arrow into the Zac slingshot that's still very much available, and he has the confidence that he's got the extra passive to die in that middle of the team fight as well.
Yeah, already 2 Drakes to 0 for Samsung. If he gets Crown, no, got flash.
He does indeed flash away from Crown. Ambition sidesteps the arrow. It was Core JJ that ate it. He's now going to flash into the blue pit and continue backing away. Blank, elastic slingshots over the wall. There's still a tower
spread
for Crown and Ambition to get in. Very good Aqua Prison and another elastic slingshot. Crown will go down. Throws down a gravity field to buy some escape time.
SKT relentless. They have so many of these CC abilities, these tools for initiation, that they continue to attack Crown, and he can't get any more flashes. So
yeah, really good extended fight there by SKT, taking a small numbers advantage at the start and being willing to spread out as they chase everyone of Samsung down.
Oh, Faker.
Speaking of which, that also happened before the fight, which meant they had a numbers advantage more so when they're going in there. Huge play there by Faker.
And that's the kill that Faker couldn't pull off earlier in the season, where he's flashing for Crown and just misplayed it. This time around, gets his man.
Wow, so that actually means that was 2 kills as well as the Drake, and that gives them a gold lead for the first time in quite a while.
But going back to the question just before all that happened, kill Samsung Galaxy and take the dragon. Seems like a pretty easy answer to how do SKT play this mid game. Constant engages from the Zac. Definitely much bigger impact than the Kindred pocket pick from Ambition.
Yeah, definitely a big move for SKT. But remember, Samsung, they have been controlling the Dragon previously, and they've already got the Infernal and the Mountain in their pocket, which is going to help a lot towards the late game. Whereas the Ocean Drake is going to fall off, and another Ocean Drake is coming up, so not really an opportunity for SKT to answer as far as those spawns are concerned. When really it is going to be so much about, are these Ashe Arrows going to hit? Are they going to fire over these wards? And who's got flash up? Neither of the carries for Samsung have flash up at the moment.
Well, Ruler doesn't need it.
Gotta walk yourself out then.
Bitman's gonna safeguard in a second. Gets caught by Let's Bounce. The kick. The shockwave delivery system. That allows a kill onto Ambition. Curtain Call is only tagging the tank. And Blank has just got so much HP and armor.
And even without these Ashe Arrows connecting, you're seeing how difficult it is for Samsung to 1-3-1 safely. Because as soon as they have Crown in the top lane, SKT is fearless in their initiation.
Relentless engage from SKT, and they're not done yet.
That's more.
All right, Blankson gonna get jumped on by 2 members, but the support from Wolf as well as Bang coming up from the river. SKT grab themselves another kill, and it feels like whenever Samsung do not have a flash, they are such a juicy target.
Remember that the backline for SKT is also quite juicy as far as Cube is concerned with the Kennen. His flash, his teleport, both about to come off of cooldown when he hits level 16.
So where are the wards, Kobe? I can see one in the bottom lane behind Duke. It's not the most ideal of targets. couple in the mid lane. So SKT would have to overextend to present themselves as a, juicy, perfect target for QV.
It's true, and also Duke would have to have less split push pressure, because even though the Kennen has the early shove on the Gnar, when you get that Frozen Mallet and Spirit Visage, it becomes really difficult for QV to actually get a window with which to teleport.
Also, as you can see by the cooldown on that Proto Belt, he constantly uses the Proto Belt to clear minion waves, so then wouldn't have it if there's an on-demand teleport, if something breaks out, and you need to have these instant responses, because, as we talked about, SKT decision-making is lightning quick.
It's allowed them to win 2 games of the series. Faker threw down the Ghost and the Shockwave, didn't kill Core JJ. We've gone over 30 minutes, and it's a 1,500 gold lead for SKT. The towers are even. Baron is starting to become a juicier and more interesting target. And Blank has picked up GA, so not only does he have Cell Division, he's also got that Guardian Angel. So nice, you have to kill him thrice. If at all.
Great feeling, actually, to be able to die multiple times. Just charge straight into the fight. We'll see if it's necessary, even though. As Bang, again, looking for those pockets of Fog of War. They're all on the bottom side of the map at the moment. Samsung know that, they can't let up as far as the vision control around Baron at the moment.
Yeah, and Quickshot, you mentioned Guardian Angel, but the Death Cap and Void Staff completed on Faker, and then the Infinity Edge and the crit build being completed on Bang. SKT is incredibly strong right now. We don't have the same level of item power spikes on Ruler or Crown right now, so really if SKT can get some type of pick here, it could turn into a massive advantage.
Well, this is where the scaling side of the SKT comp really starts to come into its own. Black Cleaver now picked up for Duke. QV sitting on his 3-item spike, Void Staff, Hourglass, and that Proto Belt. But he needs the wards. He needs to get in behind SKT to win a team fight, because if you look at all the damage on the Samsung Galaxy, it's going to take so many rotations of spells to get through Zac and Gnar alone, if they're on a straight-up head-to-head fight.
There is a huge amount of pressure on QV's shoulders to run the makeshift front line using the zoning of his ultimate, but then also the invulnerability of his Zhonya's. There's plenty of damage on Samsung. If once someone does get stunned up, with the ultimate of Kennen, Crown has been magnificent at layering his gravity shield, a gravity field.
Now Cheryl onto Ambition. Blank's coming in from behind. And the fight's now going to break out. Gravity field will pull Blank backwards. That should be the GA pop. Cell Division still available. Curtain Call interrupted. Very good tidal wave. He's found 3. Blank charges up. The Maelstrom. The Slingshot. Faker's down. Samsung get 3.
Quick shot, just like we talked about. The wards and SKT move right up into Samsung's jungle, right where they want him. They collapse. Now it's going to be the Baron for them as well.
And it's nothing that SKT can do about it at this point. They meander into a fight in Samsung's jungle and get absolutely obliterated by Samsung's response. That is the reverse of what you expect when watching SKT, who normally is the reactive team.
The arrow onto Lee Sin, who simply safeguards away. And even though Blank has multiple lives, you don't want to use them inside the jungle. They corner themselves. Gnar is not there to start it out either, and that is the dream flank. All members of the back line for QV. When the pressure is on, the weight on his shoulders, he grabs them all.
Not to mention the tidal wave was used to interrupt the curtain call, which left no disengage once QV had entered the fight. Massive play.
That's a Blank special. Just overreaching. No, just overreaching.
You've seen it so many times. That's why Bengi seems to sync better with SKT sometimes. He was over the wall. He didn't hit anyone with his elastic slingshot, and then everyone was waiting around for his Guardian Angel.
All right, I love criticizing Blank, but that was probably a team call.
One of your favorite
It was probably a team call there, because they went with Ash Arrow. They wanted to engage on it.
All right, Tidal Wave was thrown down in the mid lane.
They get Faker!
I see. They've killed Faker. We didn't see the setup, but it doesn't matter. With Baron buff looking to make a play. I can see Ambition's flashes down. I'm sure we're going to replay that.
Much like in the last game, Samsung get Baron, Faker tries to defend an outer turret, and Ambition just sneaks in the backside to get the kickoff. This is going to be another big Baron power play for Samsung.
Already at 3,000 gold. They take their 5th tower of the game. They're sieging up in multiple lanes. Now they're pressuring the mid inhib. 28 seconds before Faker can respawn. Inhib on the bottom lane is down. Samsung are now pushing onto the inhibitors. 15 seconds before Faker comes up. Mid and bottom might just fall in a matter of seconds. Mid
Oh my God.
synchronized. Inhib. Ruler gets tagged. Instantly throws the QSS down and is able to run away. Woo!
We are getting closer and closer to a 5th game in the World Finals, which we have never had before. But Samsung would have to be able to close. They're 5,000 gold up, and SKT will continue to scale.
And almost all of that gold came from this Baron power play. This is approaching a 6,000 gold Baron power play here. Look at that. Ambition goes in, finds Faker again. This is almost like we're watching it over and over again. Ambition in on Faker, takes him down.
Yeah, and Blank, down his Guardian Angel, down his Cell Division. Going to be difficult for him to get a good engage, especially because Samsung is just using their zone control, staying spread out. They have the QSS on Ruler already, and when they get the Mikhails onto Core JJ, that Asher initiation won't be possible.
Oh, Ambition's looking for Faker again. Not going to find him just yet. Let's bounce, interrupting the possibility of a
dead.
Ambition is now down. SKT turning it around. Core JJ gets caught out. The Mega Narc comes down as well. That's 2 kills for SKT. Samsung unable to find a kick this time around.
Great punish there from SKT, making Ambition pay this time around. And that should be enough to actually buy them a huge amount of time for those inhibitors to come back up. Yes, we just had a game where Samsung had multiple SKT inhibitors down, yet it took them 70 minutes. So we could very well be in for the long haul.
Yeah, watching this attempt one more time, they do see Faker on a ward, so they think they can get the pick. Because if they get this with 2 inhibitors down, they think they win the game. But he can't sneak behind him here. And then he gets heavily punished by the tidal wave and the ultimate from Faker, timing just right with the Narc teleport.
That's the thing with Lee Sin. You usually need Flash to pull off the really miraculous plays. And without the extra ability there, Ambition, a little bit too much.
The scale of SKT's deficit is not the same as Samsung Galaxy's, but they find themselves in a similar scenario. They're behind, their opponents have got strong map control, there's super minions on the map, and Samsung Galaxy are looking great route, but Duke managed to hop away. Juve's still gonna...
It's a matter of how much health he has. He has no one to help him right now.
All right, there's no support. This should equal a kill. The hop, the bounce,
Great
the final shot. Not gonna find his target. The stun does. Juve combos with Ruler.
And the 2 inhibitors are still down. There will be 1 wave of super minions that I think crashes in the bottom side as they assault this outer turret.
And that was a very dodgeable skill there from Duke, and he just runs straight instead of taking the half step backward, eats the root, ends up going down. And now Ambition once again.
He gets caught up by Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the bubble, the bounce, everything. Chaos Storm is buying some time. Bang is forced to run away. Look at the damage from those ticks over and over, and the tower falls.
Yeah, but I like SKT countering that play, knowing Ambition is going for the flank.
Juve though!
He's looking for more. Wolf is able to get away to safety. The tower is being focused by Ruler and Clown. That means all towers except Nexus are down.
You can tell this team refueled after that victory. The resurgence here from Samsung. Looking to get 3 inhibitors already, only 30 minutes into the game.
And because of the super minions pushing the bottom turret, SKT weren't able to punish in the upcoming 4v5 with Duke respawning. Samsung knew what they had right there, and they were able to take advantage of it.
A far more convincing game this time around from Samsung, looking to even this series up.
And I think that's a key word, though, Kobe, looking to even the series up. Yes, they got the 3 inhibitors down. 2 of them will be respawning pretty soon. And maybe they'll be able to take the Elder Drake and the Baron defense from there. They still have the potential of a Zac with an Orianna. But with the way Samsung's been playing, it doesn't seem that likely to work for SKT.
The thing is, with this composition, when you open up the map this much, you can't even open up the map further for Samsung. There are so many spots that SKT have to clear for wards. There's almost no way they can be confident if they ever go out to contest an objective that there's not a ward behind them. They constantly have to be looking over their shoulders for Juve.
Because of the death cap as well. He's had that 1 great initiation, and there's the threat of the other one. That's what they should be using to try and secure this Baron and this Elder Drake. The order, even though Elder Drake comes up first, should be Baron to the Elder Drake because the Baron lasts much longer and they want to maximize their time with both buffs.
Samsung Galaxy on the verge of making history here at the World Championship, potentially going to 5 games against a team that everyone expected to just wipe the floor with Samsung, and they've showed incredible grit throughout the series. Playing from behind, and now they've started Baron proactively.
Juve is hoping they come into the choke so he can get the flank on them, but he can't get caught. Let's go for Faker!
He's gonna find Faker and kill him, but he used the slicing maelstrom. Blank is in the pit with ambition. That's a good Ash arrow. Picked up by Samsung Galaxy. Blank is now left alone in the pit. Duke running for his life. A couple more tags. Cube can't find the stun just yet. Tidal Wave sends him fishing. Crown throwing down those death rays over and over. Blank is exhausted. The curtain call. The gravity. Kills. It's a double for Bang.
Holy! Bang comes up huge right there! He's able to save the game for SKT!
It's not over. Blank slingshots into the mid lane. Core JJ's looking to bounce him down. The ebb, the flow, not going to be enough for the kill just yet. Here comes Ambition. Rulers on a